because they've been playing a lot more Karthus that Reginald's been picking up, right? The Malphite is actually becoming a permanent ban against Dyrus. Shen is obviously very highly contested. And with Wild Turtle, it actually opens up them to a huge array of AD carries because it's not just Misfortune all the time anymore.
I'm expecting the TF ban or Karthus to come out from somewhere. They do decide to focus that Zed. It was the last time they played. They were obviously able to beat compLexity the last time they faced off, but they don't want to give.
Yeah, and probably actually pulled out the Gragas, like he pulled the Gragas ban from TSM. He was played it all week. He played it twice yesterday.
First two
times he's ever played Gragas, and like, we're banning that guy. We don't want to deal with it. Gragas is actually a champion that Reginald used to play a lot of, and it's something that when you're really practiced with can be incredibly potent, but if you're not playing Gragas, like, he's a very hard champion to learn. So once Probably picked it up, I guess it's ban-worthy for TSM.
So what is Dyrus and Nick Wu going to play? Dyrus could probably throw himself onto the Rumble. Like we said, Jace is in there for Nick Wu, but there for Reginald as well, and they choose to go for Thresh.
And I actually think like compLexity should pick Jace right here because they've done 3 bans against Dyrus, and Jace is the thing that Dyrus played yesterday.
There you go.
That he was so good at in their victory. So that was a really smart thing. I mean, yesterday compLexity against Dignitas targeted Skara. They're very clearly targeting Dyrus this game because Dyrus is another one of those players who actually says, I only want to practice 5 champions. One of Dyrus' big mistakes, in his own words, during Season 2 was that he tried to play more than 5 or 6 champions. And in this season, he's narrowed himself down. So compLexity trying to attack that.
I can smell only a Rumble pick from him here, but it would be interesting to see anything else because his roster only shows those 3 or 4 or 5 champions that he has played, or his lineups this season. So we'll see what the odd one picks in. They look to show a support here, but they're only hovering, not locking in. compLexity is really enjoying this, that they have Jace, because they can go so many ways with just that comp from what they see here.
Exactly, and they actually had a Jace, man.
Ooh, they take Diana away from Reginald too.
I love that Prawley does this. He will literally just lock into the other mid laner and be like, what is your favorite thing to play? I am going to play that instead if you're not picking it immediately. Right? And that's, I feel like he's going to do this as long as he's in the LCS. He does have his Karthus. That would actually probably be what TSM decides to go for because they pick standard Sona, they have the Nasus. He zoned people like crazy with Karthus the other day. Yeah. And it would be what he wants to go up against Diana with, but like that's not the best matchup for Karthus. Diana can punish that fairly well, go in, dump a bunch of damage, and then just kind of run away with the shield. It will be really interesting to see what TSM goes for. I don't know what else Reggie would default onto unless he goes for something like TF, but yeah. Karthus seems like the right choice.
I mean, they have the KO, but we haven't seen it too much other than support recently being played there. They hover it. They're talking. You can see Reginald really chatting it up with the team. It's Wild Turtle's pick as well. And looks like we get 2 of the favorites for these guys if they do lock it in.
Man, if Wild Turtle goes for this Draven, it's game on for TSM because Wild Turtle is a very aggressive Draven. And this is the aggressive team comp for TSM because Reginald is an absolute madman when he plays Karthus. He just flashes into teams, and Wild Turtle will be right behind him for a whole bunch of damage. This is going to be one of those games that could potentially be very clashy. compLexity isn't the type of team to play disengage comps even when they have Jace, and TSM is not the team to disengage either, so I want to see how compLexity rounds out this team comp. What are they missing? They're missing a support.
Be a good Lulu here. They definitely have the poke, Jace, Caitlyn, and Diana to come in. They need something to follow up with Jarvan there. It'd be good to keep them safe.
They could do Lulu because Lulu Caitlyn is that strong lane. Thresh is banned for MIA, which is what he's had amazing Thresh games yesterday.
That was quick ban.
They're sitting on this for a while, though. I wonder if they're going to go something a little bit more aggressive.
He does play Zyra?
He has played Zyra in the past.
Oh, but he does like his Elise as well. MIA is one to build ability power on his support champion, so whatever he locks in here is going to be damaging.
Right, so if they go with this, that means the Jarvan is going to be the Aura Master, and his support Elise is going to be going for magic penetration most likely. And he's going to start with the red elixir too, because that's something MIA does all the time. So the early levels from MIA are going to be really strong. And this last pick from TSM is going to be Reginald's top lane. At this point, he knows he has to go up against Jace, who is an incredibly difficult matchup. Normally, I'd be like, oh, he's going to play Malphite or Renekton. It's almost got to be Rumble, but that is a little magic damage heavy for TSM. We'll have to see what Dyrus decides to go for.
It would be... Wow, really? Reginald, or rather Dyrus, almost picking out the Kha'Zix here. They get the hover on, and you can see Special chatting it out, and they do decide to lock it in. So this is really the first time we're seeing... maybe he'll play at the passive lane, but this is a lane Dyrus will fight in.
This is the first Dyrus Kha'Zix lane.
Yeah.
And it actually looks like a good composition, right? Because you look at the way TSM goes in, and with Reggie being able to get everyone so low, knowing that Wild Turtle is also a little bit crazy on Draven, they should be getting people extremely low in these fights, and it will actually allow Dyrus to be the one who flies in and cleans up. The normal TSM teamfight execution throughout history has been Dyrus and Reggie both go crazy, and then their 80 carry cleans up. But when they pick something like a Kha'Zix, it's something that Dyrus will have to do. It's a bit of a strategy. When he played Darius, he was very patient with that. He's going to have to do something similar with Kha'Zix. And you look at complexity, it's another aggressive team. It's going to be Diana going in with Loutamortis, who's going to be going in with MIA, and then it's like Brunshu just fending for himself in the back. It'll be very explosive if I had to guess.
And really with what we heard, I believe Probably was saying yesterday for complexity when they chose the Gragas, when they wanted to get out of it what they wanted with a Kha'Zix and isolation, you can do that. You wither somebody out, they trail from the group, Kha'Zix jump, wall, Karthus, so you can still get that isolation with this composition.
And the thing about that is if you don't want to give the isolation and someone gets withered, there's going to be a Karthus walking into you at a fairly quick clip, and they will not be American LCS, because there's no way TSM is taking this game lightly. After TSM pretty much had a scare against Marn yesterday, almost losing that one, and then Complexity, who looks like a hotter team in general, I don't know how they're going to react to this one. Level 1-wise, right? We actually don't see Complexity starting with as many Red Elixirs. MIA finally calmed down a little bit. Didn't start with the Red Elixir himself. Probably didn't either. So slightly more conservative. And with the level 1 picks, there's not as much to potentially pick people out. It's pretty much just an MIA cocoon if they wanted to go for something. But neither of these team comps are particularly well suited for making something happen.
All right. If you are just joining us here, we are jumping into Game 2 of Day 2 here, Super Week. That is Week 10. The final one where the standings mean a whole heck of a lot for both teams. We have Team Solo Mid versus Complexity, the unbeatens of Super Week here to face off. 2-0 are both of these teams in this match of 1. We'll have to see what happens. Rivington the third and Jat to bring you this NA LCS match as we get it underway. Both teams look to stay safe, Jat. The fort pots look to be used in the lane.
Unless we see another crazy I'm a cutie pie trying to fly in and steal a double golem. No, don't be that guy, Wild Turtle. Don't be that guy.
Don't be
He's looking a little antsy. He wants to run towards that, and they actually just kind of ward each other off in that river, so both teams know that both teams have vision of that river, and I think they're okay with it.
Moving up top, doesn't look like we're going to get any weird switches in. We're going to have an even all game. It's going to be Nick Wu getting that 1v1 fight versus Dyrus. Loutamortis in that 1v1 jungle versus Odd One. I know it's crazy, but it's going to happen. And we'll see Loutamortis starting off with Wolves, and they are going to pick up golems on the side of Complexity.
Yeah, gotta be one of the most standard starts we've seen. I think the big edge that Dyrus is going to try to get here is Kha'Zix's level 2 is really strong. And most Kha'Zixes will want to kind of all in. Since Dyrus did the double golems, Reggie actually gave him all the experience over there. We need to keep track of Dyrus right away at level 2 with the Red Elixir, since he's going to ping 2 much faster than Nick Wu.
We'll have to see what Reginald can do in mid. These guys, no discrepancy in the 5 CS that they have, but you can see Reggie actually trying to get damage down as he's going to inadvertently push his lane while he's doing that too. Looking to get those last hits as well as harass onto Probably, making him push some potions down. And we got the Fairy Charm pots up against the Mana pots and Ward.
And Dyrus gets 2 and just goes on Nick Wu as we thought was going to happen, burns the Red Elixir.
So strong there. Dyrus is ready to fight in this lane. Nick Wu may not have considered that to happen. He may have thought Dyrus was going to play safe. Considering that Ignite is there, he now knows this lane is all about the fighting, and Nick Wu may come back and be ready for that.
Dyrus was really fast to skill up his jump right after he hit level 2, so he definitely caught Nick Wu a little bit by surprise, and he's actually managing to get about a 2 health pot edge in that lane.
Brunshu now trying to push down the top lane, trying to draw aggro from the jungler, bring the Odd One down to the bottom, give Nick Wu an easier 1v1 in that top lane so he doesn't find any focus from that. We'll see if they are successful here as we are checking out Probably and Reginald in mid. Still just chugging away on those potions, really not giving each other any advantage in the lane position.
Yeah, for the most part, I think this is going to be a farm lane until level 6, unless Reginald tries to make something really crazy happen, if Probably ever tries to jump on top of him. If Loutamortis ganks early, he might be able to make something happen, but Reggie's probably going to be sitting back far enough to not make that a possibility. And just because Probably started with so many health potions, I don't see Reginald being able to harass him down much. If we see anything, it's going to be this top lane gank on Dyrus, since he's been so aggressive.
He did go a lot of potions, does not have that ward in. Let's see if he can get one more all-in onto Nick Wu. It will be the jump in. Nick Wu level 2. When he hits that 3, they may start to go. He does level 3, and it's going to be the activation for Loutamortis, but here's the counter gank. The Odd One just on the outside. They get the Wither down onto Loutamortis. The Spirit Fire placed, so he has to walk through it. Great job here coming in. Loutamortis goes down. Dyrus picks up first blood. Odd One goes down to the 1-for-1 retribution kill. It's going to be the chase on the double buffs. Both laners are definitely going to be all-out fight mode now.
And look at Nick Wu trying to turn this one around.
He caused a flash. Wow.
So when all is said and done, you could tell a lot of Mortis was actually very scared of a counter gank because he put his flag down in the brush and then actually waited like a second. Do I want to go? Do I want to go? All right, I'm going. As the Odd One arrived, there's like a super sense and communication that the Odd One and Dyrus have in that top lane getting counter ganks because they've been on a team together for so long. And it did work out there. I mean, yes, Dyrus burned Flash, but with both of them having double buffs, it's just a trade of power, right? It's going to be an even more interesting lane now, and there's more incentive for those guys to get aggressive.
We'll have to see where they take the advantage of that lane. Dyrus really doesn't have a teleport or anything, which means he's still aggressive on that lane. So we won't really see him coming into effect for the rest of the team up until that 15-20 minute mark when they start going for objectives. I don't think he's going to get too much of a split push on that as well, so I can't wait to see him in the team fights.
Yeah, well, Dyrus in that top lane as well
Yeah.
has the sustain spam from his W, and normally that's mana gated early on in the game, but because he got that blue buff early, he's able to keep himself at 100% health, and really just forced Nick Wu back to base in that situation. Ooh. And there goes Turtle.
Wild Turtle on the minigame, catching those. A good cocoon up by MIA to stop the damage, but they have quickly pressured this lane back out. A Volatile Spider not really doing too much. Brunchu trying to get those long-range pokes in.
And Wild Turtle has still not used his red elixir in this lane, whereas Brunchu has, so there's a potential bait that could happen. His barrier is down, so Brunchu probably thinks he's gotten most of it gone. I don't know if that red elixir would catch him off guard, but that is definitely a lot of kill potential for Wild Turtle in that lane.
A lot of mortars coming on the backside of Odd One. Another 2v2. The Battle Royale continues in the top lane. Dyrus gets hit up. The double buffs are still ticking. Dyrus forced over the wall. He'll have that back in a few, but he leaves Odd One by himself, and they choose to go each side out on this one. They're not going to be able to finalize the kills.
So at least they're making Dyrus go back to base and lose a bit of experience. He was getting a bit of a minion kill advantage on that one, and that was actually a good decision for a lot of Mortis and Nick Wu to go on them, because since they dumped all their early damage onto Dyrus, they didn't let the double buffs just stay in the fight. And now they're going to get a bit of free turret harass while Odd One tries to hold as well.
Yep, once again, Jat, this also takes the pressure off that bottom lane. Brunchu and MIA still effectively able to stay in the face of Wild Turtle and Xpecial and continue to push that hard.
And look at that harass coming down the top lane. Everything has been about the top lane so far this game. Turrets at half. Nick Wu's still got the double buffs, and oh my god, look at Wild Turtle.
Oh, catching every exit he needs. The stand aside goes in as he knows it's going low. MIA trying to turn this one around. Brunchu gonna go down from Reginald. That presence from mid. MIA takes a turret shot, and he won't be able to finalize the kill. A double kill for Reginald in the end.
And he got Diana in that as well, because I think probably went in to try and steal to shut down the Requiem. He didn't make it in time. Then he took a bunch of turret damage, got hit by exhaust, and fell as well. So that was just a crazy good play by TSM. It looked like Wild Turtle had lost his mind, but it was all planned, and TSM got away with 3 kills.
They limp away from the bottom lane. You can see them still blinking. They're staying, you know how safe they are right now. They're like, we're going to farm with 10 health. And we're going to go back. That was nice. We'll see what items they have. They have completely empty inventories right now, and that's going to be a big jump for them. The Philo start already into the wards. You see Reginald picking up the Catalyst and the Tears, so he's never running out of mana. 7 minutes into the game. The BF quickly and the Sword to go for the sustain after that into the Scepter. So big buys there to the Dorans. And Brunch went for boots, so he set himself back a little on money there.
And he's definitely not going to be able to trade against Wild Turtle in this situation. So the reason Brunchu would go boots in this lane is because he wants to keep Draven at distance.
Right.
So he outranges him 650 to 550. So he's got 100 extra range on him on Caitlyn there. And the move speed advantage that he gains from those boots, if he plays it right, he can keep Wild Turtle at bay. But if he doesn't, if Wild Turtle closes in on him, he's going to be in trouble.
Dyrus is here, the Odd One is not, and it looks like they're finally going to get their first 2v1. He throws down the ultimate, but he gets stuck in the Cataclysm, doesn't have the jump to get out. He tries to do as much damage as he can. That last bit of armor he gets, it's not going to be enough. The long range from Nick Wu picks it up. The Odd One trying to put a kill on the bottom lane here, though.
And this is what Nasus does. You know, Jarvan ganks at 6, Nasus kills Dragon at 6. He's got the pink ward. If he pops his ultimate, they could get it down fast. They just have to worry about a potential Prawley coming over from the side, since Reginald wasn't in position to support. I feel like TSM should go back for that Dragon shortly, because compLexity has spent so much time up top after that Dyrus kill to get the turret.
Yes, exactly. Seeing that, the Odd One turns. He says, don't worry, hold your lanes. We'll get help from Reginald. Just make sure Brunch and MIA do not enter this area. It's going to be probably going back for his wraiths. They're kind of just waiting this one out. They know they lose Dragon, so they're grabbing what they can.
Yep, and that's the trade that compLexity essentially opted into. I do think that works out for TSM in the end, even though Dyrus lost his turret. Dyrus has been getting a ridiculous amount of gank pressure in his own lane, so the Odd One backed off a little bit. It did cost Darius his life and his turret, but as long as the team is okay with it, they're still up in gold thanks to that 3 kills they picked up in the box.
Probably even either feeling very comfortable or taking out an investment here and buying a 9-minute Oracles that he has yet to pop. They may want to just really take control of something, or maybe the ganks in the top lane he thinks are warded and not working as well. That's a really early Oracle.
Ledamortis does generally get Oracles before some of the other junglers, but this is earlier than he did even yesterday. And compLexity usually wins early game. Ooh. There's a lot of trouble for Prawley, though.
Prawley knows he's got to dive back into this one. He kind of wastes the time that Wither's not affecting him, but they can hit that damage onto him, gets himself back in, and he's going to be all right on this one.
Yeah, he realizes Reginald was out of mana, so he just had to kind of wait out the Defile, and just kind of joke around in there and make sure he didn't get hit by too many auto attacks. It looked like a really bad situation, but it turned out to be okay.
See them backing off. Nick Wu in the top lane getting good clear on those minions. 52 to 69 as it's staying pretty close in that top lane, but Dyrus has found off of that kill the quick advantage in the minion wave. 87 to 79 in the mid lane. Doran's rings to a built catalyst and stacking tier. Probably is going to have a big item come out soon. He does have 1200, so he's building up to that quite nicely.
And that's the build that pretty much all the Karthus are doing nowadays. Is Reginald actually harasses Prawley down a bunch. He's going to try to Requiem and does Prawley have a shield up.
Probably does have a shield up. It's going to be enough. It takes just that. Big cooldown there. Ledamortis taking damage as well, so they have eyes on the jungler. We'll see if the lanes get aggressive here.
That was real close, and that actually just takes some of the pressure away from compLexity's lanes because they don't have to worry about that Requiem anymore. Nick Wu and Dyrus just brawling with each other. I mean, Dyrus had the lane advantage from the early level 2, but then Nick Wu got 2 kills because Ledamortis ganked him so much. This is a forever battle, and they're not afraid to fight.
It's just poke for poke, tit for tat here as they go back and forth. 11 minutes in, it is a 2,000 gold lead in favor of Team Solo Mid as they were able to take down the Dragon, and those 2 kills over that countered turret in the top lane that compLexity has found their way. Low mana bar here for Dyrus, and it looks like Odd1 just on the backside.
And he has his ultimate, and he pops Ghost. Nick Wu's going to be struggling to get out of this one.
They don't even have the minion wave, but there's not enough. They shred him down. They don't need it.
Yeah, Nick Wu couldn't even make it to the ridge to flash over, and that was just a really quick, well-executed gank by Dyrus and the Odd1. Again, showing that synergy, and Dyrus showing why he's in the All-Star game.
Absolutely. It looks like they're going to get pressure on this top turret, make up for that gold they lost later, or they choose to back this one out. Dyrus enjoys the strength he has in that top lane, continues to push it.
And this just goes to show right now how good TSM has been since picking up Wild Turtle, because, like, sure, Wild Turtle is doing well on Draven, but it's the whole team that's just playing better. They have a new commitment, it seems, in a lot of these games, and even though compLexity is so red hot and amazing early game team, TSM has been able to shut them down thus far.
Draven ulti used on bottom to try and deter compLexity off the turret, but they find the gold. 1,700 gold back. They still pressure these lanes. It doesn't look like they're going to put this into fight phase just yet. We're 12 minutes in. Probably returns to mid lane. He's actually gone straight for Sork Boots with that buy of 1250, and he is going to be waiting on some items. So he'll get some damage he wants there, but not to his core items. Ledamortis off on the wing.
Yeah, and Prawley needs to make something happen pretty soon here. You can see Ledamortis wants to dunk on Reggie, but there is a flash and an exhaust up for Reginald, plus the Odd1 is always there for a counter gank.
Yeah, they're going to go in quite hard. The Odd1 just on the backside. Will he be able to get it in? No, Prawley goes right back into the fight. The Ignite is going to take down Reginald. He knows that Requiem is still down, so he's safe for the dive.
That was really clever by Prawley. He landed the Q to ult in, and then Reggie thought he was going to ult again for the kill, but because Prawley had his Ignite ticking already, he actually ulted out to a minion because he just kind of walked away as the Ignite burned him down. Really clever play by Prawley there. So
after taking Diana from Reginald, playing very well with Diana against Reginald. Reginald here now is 2-1-1 to the 1-1-0. So still using that global presence to keep himself in the game, probably harassing Odd1 in mid now. Maybe able to start to finalize those items that he didn't get because he built the boots right away. Dyrus finding aggression in the top lane, and really compLexity is everywhere to stop what the Odd1's been able to help do.
And Ledamortis has done a lot of work with that Oracles. He's had it on for 3 minutes, and he's actually managed to clear most of TSM's vision away. You can see there's actually only one living ward on the entire map for TSM, and that is near the bottom lane in that brush. Let's see if this allows compLexity to have a little bit more pressure, because Prawley's keeping this lane pushed up, which means Reginald can't really deal with him in a sense. Reginald is at his turret farming instead of keeping the lane shoved, so Prawley now has the ability to roam a little bit as compLexity continues to keep TSM's wards off the map.
We see the Aegis being built already from Ledamortis coming out. The Locket of the Iron Solari just finished for the Odd1 as we see pressure towards the bottom lane. A nice cocoon onto a special. The Crescendo will have to come out here to save somebody or one buddy. but it's not going to be anybody. Special goes down there. They do trade the kill back, however, on the supports. Can they get Brunchu? One more attack. It's going to be the kill, and he may actually make it away from Prolly. The Crescent Strike should be able to knock him down, though. He just goes for the auto attacks. It's a back and forth for 2-2.
That was still an awesome play by Wild Turtle. The presence of mind to know you're in a 2v3 and you will not be able to run from a Diana. He just turns it right back around, and getting a double kill onto Wild Turtle is probably just as good as getting something on a Prolly. The added benefit for TSM is that Reginald didn't even have to leave his lane or use his ultimate to make that 2-for-2 trade happen. So while it was a smart move for complexity to go down, use their ward advantage, and get a gank, the execution was totally on TSM's side, and Wild Turtle made a play.
We'll see actually in the bottom lane. No blue buff over there on the side of Diana, and it's just being given over to Reginald. So we'll see him now start to push this mid lane quite hard. That cooldown's going to come up. So as we said before, Reginald is one to start and try to end fights with Requiem. So we may see, even if he's not in lane, him coming into play for these kills. 15 minutes in, still about a 1,400 to 1,700 gold lead going in favor of Team Solo Mid. 7-5 is the kills, but complexity has found the way to take down Team Solo Mid's turrets. Can they start to pressure the Dragons, though?
Well, since they've taken down the turrets, the next logical thing would be they try to get Dragon control.
Right.
So that's why the Odd One went and put a pink ward on that Dragon already. And it's Complexity's early game push here going down. Like, they've been prepping this for a while. One of the reasons they got turrets is because of the oracles that was on Latimortis and the map pressure that was creating. So the next big fight is going to be really key because TSM seems to have been winning the fights along with Complexity's pressure.
Dyrus trying to go for some damage there, and he gets caught out with more members than he thinks were there. He is down to about 400 health. He looks to be chugging potions, but he will stay for the engagement on this fight. He may be able to help from the backside for a chase or engage. The Vision Ward, like you said, is down. Complexity is going to pressure.
And they have to keep in mind that Reginald has his ultimate. Even though they have Kha'Zix low, he's been healed up a little bit. He's about at half health. TSM has all of their ultimates up, aside from Crescendo. They might try to go in for a fight here because Complexity's got that Dragon low. There's the wall.
A lot of flashes are still down here for that initiation. They walk into the traps, get the crowd control out. Odd One cocooned right after. Reginald finds his way to the back line, but Prolly goes the same way. The health bars are going low. Prolly gets dropped. 3 go down, 2 on one side, and it looks like it's going to be Brunchu able to clean up from the back. Killing in, it's going to be MIA going down. Wild Turtle finds himself a kill, and they really just organized that for Karthus to be in the middle, and they couldn't get themselves around him.
Reginald always puts himself into the middle of fights as Karthus, makes himself as hard as possible to deal with, but even with all that, it was a 3-for-2. It's all about what TSM can do now, because they got Brunchu and Nikwu so low in that fight that they pretty much had to go immediately back to base, whereas TSM has 3 members at full health. They get the turret, and now they might move towards the Dragon.
Big global gold coming in here for Team Solo Mid, and this is going to really mean some core items for them. A very big fight to even not have Crescendo for and come out on top. You were looking at all the ultimates coming from the other team. Complexity just was not able to make it happen. They could pick up a kill on Dyrus. He's forced to use his ultimate. Looks like he could get out safe here. The ace in the hole is going to take him low, but the shock or the acceleration gate will not keep Nikwu in range.
One shot! Oh, we didn't quite finish him off.
Wild Turtle, got to be careful. Good heal to keep that poke down.
Oh man, Dyrus with the Ninja Tabby boots, giving him 25 extra armor. If he would have went a different boot choice, he would have been dead after that one, but good play from TSM. And now since they stuck around so long, Complexity's going to try to counter back. Let's see if Reggie and the Odd One can hold off this turret.
They got good siege clear here if Reggie can get into range, but that's what he is afraid of. Probably will jump right onto his face along with Latimortis. They get the turret, not really deterred by the damage being given out. Wild Turtle to farm bottom lane as we take stock of the CS in the game. 154 to Brunchu's 137. Bloodthirster completed to what is going to be an Infinity Edge.
And that was a whole bunch of action. Time to take a breather because I don't think we're going to have something for about another 25 seconds. No, but the Aegis was completed for Latimortis. The Infinity Edge just got completed for Brunchu. That's really big since Wild Turtle hasn't gotten to his next big item yet. Never mind. Last Whisper completed by Wild Turtle since he had 2,000 gold to go back and shop with. He also picked up a red elixir, so you can tell TSM is going for the juggler right now, right? They've been powering through them in team fights. Reginald's ultimate will be back up again. This time he actually has Flash on Karthus. There's not a really big objective to fight over since 18 minutes is a bit too early to go for Baron, it seems like. And Wild Turtle is going down to farm that bottom lane, but if TSM can find any kind of fight, I think they're going to want to go for it.
You know, TSM does have Nasus, Karthus, and some good damage, but I don't think they're going to do it. They go for Dyrus, not so much Baron, but he may be just as slippery. Dyrus looks to get out of this one. He uses his jump, doesn't have to use too much there. The ultimate will be up in just a bit. So we see focus in the top lane. Let's see how TSM responds to this.
And compLexity, not only in picks and bans, but in play, has really tried to pick on Dyrus. And I don't know how well it's working. The amount of times they've ganked him, plus the 3 bans they used on him, and picking away Jay still isn't giving them many advantages.
Flash there from MIA. They get the ward over, but really nothing's going to come of that. Just a vision of where he is exiting. They dive onto Reginald in middle here. Loud Mortis gets the Cataclysm down, forced to flash out there, and that's going to be big for a probably 1v1.
And that's really worth it, especially in the next team fight for compLexity, because Reginald will no longer be able to flash into their team if they try a siege type thing at this turret down here. Cataclysm comes back much faster than Reginald's flash. I think because of that, TSM is backing up a little bit, not wanting to engage in a team fight of this size.
Looks like Loud Mortis, Loud Mortis called Prolly back in mid, so they don't want to fight this. They just want to siege control and keep TSM here while Prolly pushes these lanes in. But Dyrus actually going to be stopped by Nick Wu top, so they have great positioning here.
Yeah, and Prolly is moving towards the bottom. I mean, if anything, this is a 4v4. compLexity wouldn't be strong enough to fight this heads up. I don't know what the win here is for compLexity. TSM has a lot of positive map pressure here. They got a turret in the top, as well as this turret just being sieged down. And I don't know if compLexity can go in, whereas TSM would have an opportunity to counter-engage if compLexity goes.
Loud Mortis backing within vision here, so this next wave could mean more aggression. He's going to stop that back. He doesn't draw any type of aggression from over the wall. Maybe he was just trying to blow some cooldowns. The wards are going out nicely to really give everybody vision within this ward fight that we're about to have if they don't engage.
TSM just taking the objectives away from them. Even though they're sitting on a ward here, there's no way that red buff is getting taken by compLexity. So compLexity realizes the stage of the game here. They probably have a pretty good sense of how far they are behind. They can tell that the 80 carry items are essentially 2-to-1. Infinity Edge versus a Bloodthirster and a Last Whisper. They know the Rod of Ages is completed on Reggie, and he's a potent threat. They realize that the resets could come from Dyrus if he reaches down for a team fight. And they know that all of TSM's ultimates are up and that they probably have better team fight presence as well. So compLexity hoping for a mistake, I think.
There's the wall going down that gives them a little bit more pressure on the turret. They're going to go ahead and back off here. We see Dyrus and Prolly in middle. Prolly goes in hard onto Dyrus. It's going to be the Ignite going down. He's trying to go all in on this one. Forces the jump from Dyrus. So that is an Ignite down from Prolly.
Man, leave Dyrus alone. They just keep going for him, and he keeps getting away. Look at that, 176 farm, more than Reggie, despite how much he has been ganked. This is a very impressive Kha'Zix performance. Even though all he's been doing is running away for the most part, the amount of attention that compLexity has used towards him for very little reward is impressive in itself.
It's still interesting. It's kind of how I thought I'd see the play of, you know, Dyrus plays that way with every other champion. Kha'Zix, you usually see players jumping on the face, getting kills as much as possible, but he's taken a slow roll Kha'Zix.
We'll see. It's going to be really, like, he's still going to be really strong.
Oh,
his farm is big enough. He started with a tier, right? He's got 450 of the 750 mana required to transform that to the Mirror Mana, and look out, Dyrus probably wants to catch you again, but he's deciding not to go in that time because he couldn't actually see him around the corner.
Probably has the Zonias, so he can be a bit tricky. We know he likes to be flashy within his play. You can see him. He's kind of just messing with his mustache right now, twisting the side of it. He's like, well, I want the kill. Do I want it? No, it's tea time. I'm going to wait. But actually, it looks like he's going to want it here. He's saying, guys, I may go in on Dyrus.
Dyrus doesn't have his ultimate up for another few seconds, but he does have that leap.
Oh, the leap once again. Chat, they're not going to listen to you. They're going for Dyrus.
They want him dead. They want to squash that bug into the ground.
It's not even like he's got shutdown gold on him either.
Yeah, it's just a strategy thing, right? Like, you could tell they came into this game being like, we need to shut down Dyrus because then we'll shut down TSM. But TSM was
a little bit. It's not an exponential amount of gold for them, but they do want Kha'Zix dead. It definitely means they have a good amount of pressure. It stops the factor of that single isolation being so strong for that team. Somebody gets withered out and then gets Kha'Zix'd, if you will. So they're just trying to look for Nick Wu to get the poke in here. They are not giving Nick Wu the blue buff this time, though. They are continuing that probably. Once they get it, that is.
Yeah, they haven't had the best control of the objectives this time. The Dragon is up once again, but Prolly is up in the top lane, so maybe they're just trying to get some turret pressure going again. They're threatening TSM a little bit, but that Dragon is just being two-manned by the Odd One and Wild Turtle, so, you know, TSM just having control of this game. They even go top to try to stop Prolly. Let's see if he fights him under the turret.
They may try to go. Prolly's actually putting himself in a pretty scary position here. He gets the exhaust down. He's going to be taking a lot here. He can still dive onto Reginald. Puts him in Defile, though. This is going to be a tricky fight. Loud Mortis taking out Reginald there for a little bit of damage. He throws on the Seraph's Embrace, and that really stops a lot of what they thought was going to be a kill for themselves. Getting a little bit antsy. compLexity finds himself on the backside of a turret here, and they find themselves two people out on the Rift. Could be 3 and 4. The chase coming in. Dyrus doesn't waste, but gets cocooned up off of the jump. Doesn't get another reset from that, and looks like they disengage the fight.
So even though compLexity was trying to split push, TSM just collapsed down straight on them, get the 2 kills out of that. And maybe they might try to get either a blue invade or a dragon out of this because they know both solo lanes for compLexity are dead after that engagement.
Looks like they are going to harass here again, and like I said, the blue buff not going to Nick Wu or Prolly for quite some time. That's going to hurt him once more. That goes to Dyrus, and he's kind of been getting those all game in the top lane. And
it's going to be exceptionally good for them here. The TSM did this yesterday when Reginald was on Karthus. Even though his blue buff is about to expire on Karthus, they gave the blue buff to Dyrus as well. The poke from Kha'Zix, just like the poke from Jace, can be actually really spammable and really powerful. And since Reginald went for that Seraph's Embrace plus Rod of Ages build, he's sitting at 2,800 mana. Like, the blue buff actually isn't as important for Karthus as it used to be before people started going for this incredibly mana-heavy build. And it's just a smart strategy for TSM that they're pulling off once again.
And we see MIA, once again, he doesn't like boots. He doesn't like boots too much. He's not going to want them. He's kind of playing the in and out, dodge the damage game. We see Lucidity boots, however, coming out for a special, so he's going for cooldowns this game with his purchase.
And I wonder why compLexity has 5 wards around the Baron area, even though they're not necessarily pressuring the Baron area. X-Special is going to get a whole bunch of cookies when he runs around this part of the jungle and just clean up in gold. And compLexity is going to lose the Baron control pretty shortly, unless they try to fight here.
He didn't want that one. Completely overlapped it, wasn't able to see it. Return on investment, just grabbing up some wards here. Looks like he'll keep going down. No, he's not going to go down to the blue. He doesn't know where that full vision is, but they do set up. Team Solo Mid looking to bait out the Baron here.
And they have the lead to do such a thing as well. Wild Turtles actually only died the one time, and that was after a beautiful double kill. They got a lot of armor pen coming through as well because both Dyrus and Wild Turtle have that last whisper very early. And that's pretty much just to make sure they can kill Prolly when he dives through because he's the only one with a substantial amount of armor. Mortis went very magic resistance heavy, trying to make sure that they have a bit more defense against Reginald, but this is just a tough situation for compLexity to be in because look at that damage from TSM.
They would love to get that. Oracle's right off of MIA, but he's not going to go down. He's got about 70 HP to his name. They're going to continue to push this turret right now. Requiem is up, so Reginald's kind of just waiting here. He sees the back going off. He will not throw it off. He does not want to get knocked out. MIA is not worth it. Probably could be going down here. He throws it down. Now MIA stop backing. He does eventually go down, but it's the Wild Turtles. He gets himself in the fight there. Triple kill coming in for Reginald from the Karthus Requiem. The inhibitor turret will fall here, and the inhibitor.
TSM just completely rolled through compLexity there. They are so strong and so confident in that fight. Not a single death for them. They look to just carry this through to the Nexus, and this is only 27 minutes in.
Above half health bars mean it. Reginald actually taking out the turrets here. He's quite hurt, but they are going to be able to drop that last Nexus turret. 27 minutes in, a 17-7 here. Team Solo Mid finds a great fight at the doorstep of compLexity's base.
compLexity needed to win every game this week, it seems, and TSM might be making that move for the #1 spot. They are now 1 win ahead of Curse. There's still 1 loss down to them, but they are making their move, and TSM looks incredibly strong now. They're 12-2 since the acquisition of Wild Turtle, and they looked great in that game.
Mortis has pulled out Jarvan recently. He did play well on it, but I believe the support junglers just really bolster him a lot more. The lane control, it really wasn't about the ganks, right? They kept going for Dyrus. You weren't able to get there. His support junglers definitely bring more crowd control, but it's obviously not the reason they lost. It was a great play by TSM. Can't take anything away from the way they played, and Dyrus kept himself unkillable almost.